This is episode 242 of Zen and the Art of Real Estate Investing with my guest, Ben Carmona. Ben is the managing partner at Perch Wealth. With more than 20 years of applied experience, Ben is an expert at 1031 exchanges, Delaware Statutory Trust, otherwise known as DSTs, real estate investment structures and strategies. Ben, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here, Jonathan. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, we're just having a good bit of info in the pre-call, and then I tell all my guests, we got to get on the show so we don't lose any of this good information. But when did you first think that real estate was going to play a role in your life? Because I know your dad was involved in real estate, as was mine.
Yeah, from an early age. Yeah, shoot. I was doing. I kind of grew up in a real estate family, if you will, or my father. At 6 years old, he was taking me to the office at his disposal company at the time, and fist pumping, the employees, and or even as a lender, I was, he would take me in the car and we do what BPO, a broker participant.
Yeah.
I was just like enthralled. That's all I knew. So I didn't really have a chance to go any other way, I guess you could say, but I loved it. So it started early.
Yeah. I always found that sometimes I didn't want to do this stuff, but it was still interesting. Even though I would rather be playing a video game, just being with my dad at that age and him saying cool things and seeing people and houses, it's always fun. I don't know how anybody doesn't think it's fun.
Right. Yeah. And, we would drive to, I'm in Southern California, but we would drive down to, the heart, or the not so nice areas of LA. And I was just like, oh my, intrigued. I couldn't get enough. Right. So yeah, it was fun out of the gates, and I loved it.
Yeah. And your major in college was real estate related as well, right?
Yes, sir. So went to San Diego State, so I'm an Aztec, and I majored in real estate with an emphasis in or finance with emphasis in real estate.
When did 1031s first come into your mind, or were you already investing, or were you just thinking like, hey, this is just going to be a part of what investors do tax wise to be safe?
Yeah, I think I was exposed to 1031s early on again, just with my parents, but I didn't know what they were. I mean, really, when I really got exposed and grabbed a hold of them was my first, job out of school, and that's kind of what I do still to this day. I was entrenched in 1031 exchanges. I mean, that's all we did. We provided product to, syndicated offerings to exchange investors. And that's, so in 2006, when I was spring chicken, I don't know how old, it was 23 or something like that.
Yeah. And for the listeners, I think that it's good to know that that exists, because I think a lot of people just think that 1031 is hard, including me in the past, because you just have to quickly identify like 3 things off the MLS, and they don't understand that there are companies that provide opportunities to put your 1031 into. That's how you started, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, look, it's so easy for me having been in it for so long, but like somebody that owns investment property, and I imagine there are lots of folks that own investment property. They don't know about 1031 exchanges at all, or they've heard about them.
Yeah.
They haven't gone into the nitty gritty. So when you hear what feels like for a new, 1031 exchange entrant or participant, it can be overwhelming, right? The timelines, the guidelines, people understand that, in short, the IRS has given us the opportunity to defer paying taxes on the sale of investment property. But beyond that, they don't really know. It can get complicated for folks that are just getting.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, of course, in theory are like, yeah, I mean, of course I want to kick the can down the road. That makes sense. And then they realize, wait, there's time frames and only this amount of properties. Like, now I feel like I'm compelled to buy something, which definitely can happen. How do you avoid that possibility? We'll get into the intricacies of it, but I know when you're 3 properties there, you really have to buy one of them, I believe, to make it work. How do you avoid that? And that's part of probably what these holding companies do.
How do you avoid paying taxes? right?
Well, yeah, first taxes, but then of course you're left with the choosable properties, and what if they
Yeah.
don't work out?
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, look, 1031 exchange has been around for over 100 years now, right? The most powerful code in the tax code by far. It's the only code that allows you to defer, and then one day you pass away, and all of the deferred taxes go away. Your beneficiaries inherit the assets. Um, yeah, but I'll just touch on the rules briefly. I know you're on, but you know, so the day you close escrow on the sale of your investment property, you have 45 days to identify suitable replacement properties. Within that 45-day period of time,
The company that you started with, and maybe now your company, is that part of where you come in to provide opportunities for other people to put it into something without having to go on the MLS, look on Zillow, contact real estate agents, in Dubuque, Iowa, and say, I really want to get a fourplex to knock this out, but there's no inventory.
yeah, absolutely. I'll say, and then I'll go back. But
Yeah.
like today, my role, my company, Perch Wealth, we advise investors, accredited investors, and help source suitable replacement properties, right? And in the properties that we offer are syndicated for the most part, so they're turnkey.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to take a step back real quick. Prior to starting the company advising clients, I spent 15 years on the syndication side of the business, right? So I was involved. Of course, I started in the basement, but for over 15 years, I was involved in acquiring the real estate, doing the underwriting, and doing the due diligence, and structuring all sorts of private real estate vehicles, whether it be Delaware Statutory Trust or TICs or private REITs or business development companies or funds, you name it. And training and educating advisors like myself today about the merits of the syndicated opportunity. So intimately familiar with what I would consider a niche business in this space.
Yeah.
And now I advise, we advise on these properties. And so it's back to your original question. Yes. What I offer, could they be a safeguard for some? 100%, right?
Yeah.
During a 45-day period, you can't find the right property, or you thought you found it and you lost it. You're on day 43 of 45. Can you come to me? We can help you, right? We can
Yeah.
help you
Yeah.
with the tax. Not ideal, but we can do it. But I'll tell you, the majority of our investors, our clients, I'll just give you a description, are baby boomers and seniors, late 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and up. These folks have worked tirelessly all their life to accumulate what they have, right? Buying property after property, managing them, fixing them up themselves, working their butts off. And now they're in a position where they are absolutely over, managing properties. They don't want to
Yeah.
deal with it anymore at all. And they're hoping and dreaming and praying of a solution out there that will allow them to sell, defer the taxes, get into something passive, and collect an income stream. And then one more thing, and then I'll pop in terms of the description. Our clients are also, that fall in that basket, more times than not, they're earning between 1% and 3% income based on today's values, right? For 20, 30 years. They haven't put up rents. They haven't kept up. And then also they have very little to no cost basis, right? So they're earning 1% to 3%, very little, and they're paying 100% ordinary income tax on the little that they're earning. I would encourage the audience to explore those alternative investments, right? Invest in private equity or private debt or private real estate investments that are not tied to exchanges, that have, low leverage, that are income producing, that are invested in defensive, resilient sectors like multifamily or healthcare. That's where you need to have a bucket of your money, in my opinion.
Yeah, and going back on something that you said earlier about the people who don't want things that are illiquid, we all need things that are illiquid. You may think that you don't, but you do, because the reason that I put a lot of money in index funds is because I'm not going to touch it. It's more liquid than what we're saying a syndication, but I put it there, so I'm not going to touch it. And I'm doing the same now with syndications. I need it to be a liquid or I'm going to do something dumb. And I'm smart, but like it's like you have to protect against yourself, because I think your ego can get away with you in real estate. Your friend comes to you, oh, great multifamily deal. We'll manage it, ourselves. And there's a lot of fake syndicators out there. So to be able to know what you want to put in there, you have to accept that like illiquid is the smart part of it, because you're just protecting from your.
So right. So right. I've seen it happen. And it is difficult even for myself, right? For years. But it's the folks that, it's funny, they were complaining and griping and freaking out when the assets were illiquid. But those folks made out way better than their friends